Well, hello folks, Lockdown 2.0 vlog 15, 16, not sure now. Well, obviously I haven't uploaded for a few days. That's been a combination of very poor weather that's made it difficult. The last vlog I uploaded we could barely hear for the wind noise. I'm back on my video camera now. I think I've resolved any issues I've had with it, so fingers crossed you're watching a video that I've recorded. Otherwise I'm talking to myself. Okay, so what am I talking about today? I've got all the pieces I need for my ammo can now. Everything's arrived. The spigot, I've already got the pipe pieces, I've got the rope, the fire rope, I've got the metal pieces I need, so I should be able to start filming that this week. I've been trying to clear out some space in my shed because I don't want to be using an angle grinder or a jigsaw in a situation where it isn't the piece isn't securely held, so just need to get something sorted out. Fingers crossed, it looks like the weather's going to be alright this week. It's gorgeous today. It's not cold, it's not warm, but it's just that lovely mild sort of temperature that's comfortable. Well, comfortable with the right clothing. So, last episode of Surviving the Stone Age was on Saturday night. Again, it featured Teresa Camper. I keep mentioning her because I've met her. She's an outstanding young lady, clearly talented, and you know, it finished on them successfully hunting a deer, processing a deer. I don't want to give too much away, but it was a really good episode. It's been a good show, and I think for an audience like ourselves, you know, we could have probably had that show last quite a few more episodes. It would have been really nice to sort of break down an episode on, you know, shelter building, an episode on, you know, locating a good source. But there was a really good point made by Matt Graham in the show. I don't want to give too much away, but there was a question of a guy called Dan asked him, he said, how long do you think, was it, or it might be another guy, anyway, the point was, he said to him, how long would it take to properly know this forest? And he said 2 lifetimes. And I think this is a really important point, because when we watch these shows and people rock up and then they've got to suss out their surroundings and they've got to build these things and do these things, what we forget is that that's generational knowledge that would have been passed down father, son, mother, daughter over multiple generations. They didn't just rock up and sort of start building a shelter in a particular way. That had been trial and error over multiple generations. We, over the last sort of couple of 100 years, have lost, I'd say, 90 to 95% of that knowledge. If you weren't learning bushcraft and survival skills and somebody put you in a forest with nothing and you had to survive, I reckon probably, I don't think you'd make 48 hours. You might make 3 days if you're lucky enough to find water and find a way of processing it. But other than that, you know, you've got to make fire, and you haven't already got flint and steel. That's not kind of accurate, because people in them generations had already learned those skills and passed them on, so would always have them. But you know, my point stands is that an ordinary person would not thrive in that environment without significant help, and those are skills that outside of bushcraft and survival and archaeological communities would not exist anymore. So it's really interesting to watch a program like that, and it really sort of gives you a bit of respect for our ancient ancestors, and that's something we all should have. Their knowledge was exceptional and vast. So again, I always say this, I've said this so many times, the use of the word primitive as a pejorative I consider to be highly offensive, because what primitive human was capable of doing was quite remarkable. And if you'd have been thrown next to one of those people, you'd never keep up with them. You just wouldn't. You just never keep up with them. Just much fitter than we are, and they had to be. Anyway, that was an interesting episode. So this week I plan to get a start on the ammo can stove. I've got the buck saw tear down to do. I'll also do a tear down of the grill, because they both go into like little poles. So, you know, we often talk about how much weight are you carrying, but also there's how much space are you occupying in your bag. And there are certain items that are nice to have, but they take up so much space. Whereas, you know, there, say like the Lixada stoves and other wood stoves they pack down really slim, take up no space. So yeah, I'll do a little couple of tear downs and demonstrations and whatnot. And then, but for now, that's me out. I'm going to have my lunch and then back to work. So I'll see you in the next one.